The Arizona Wildcats entered the game against the Kansas State Wildcats riding high on a 9-game winning streak. This streak had been a testament to their hard work, determination, and the strategic brilliance of their coaching staff. This impressive run had fans and analysts alike taking notice of the Wildcats' resurgence. The team had shown remarkable improvement in both offense and defense, making them a formidable opponent in the league. However, all streaks must come to an end. The anticipation was high and the pressure was mounting as they faced Kansas State. On this Saturday, it was the Kansas State Wildcats who delivered a resounding defeat to Arizona, ending their winning ways in decisive fashion. Kansas State's offense was relentless, and their defense was impenetrable, leaving Arizona struggling to find their rhythm. The final score of 31-7 painted a clear picture of Kansas State's dominance on the field. It was a game where every play seemed to go in favor of Kansas State, and Arizona could not catch a break. Arizona's previous loss was a distant memory, a triple overtime heartbreaker against USC in October 2022. That game had been a grueling test of endurance and skill, pushing the team to their limits. Since then, they had been nearly unstoppable. Their victories had been marked by exceptional teamwork, strategic plays, and a never-give-up attitude that had won them many admirers. This loss to Kansas State served as a stark reminder that the road to success in college football is paved with challenges. Every game is a battle, and even the best teams can falter. The Wildcats would need to regroup and learn from this defeat as they moved forward in the season. The coaching staff would undoubtedly analyze every play, every mistake, and work tirelessly to ensure the team comes back stronger. The journey ahead would be tough, but with resilience and determination, the Arizona Wildcats could still achieve great things this season. The game did not begin as a blowout. Both teams came out with a sense of determination and focus, ready to give their all on the field. In fact, Arizona came out firing on all cylinders. Their energy was palpable, and their strategy was clear from the get-go. Their opening drive was a thing of beauty, showcasing their offensive potential. Every play was executed with precision, and the team moved down the field with confidence. Quarterback Noah Fifita led the charge, marching his team down the field with precision and purpose. His passes were sharp, and his leadership was evident as he orchestrated the drive. The drive culminated in a 1-yard touchdown run by running back Quali Conley. The play was a testament to the team's hard work and determination. The Wildcats faithful erupted in cheers, believing that this was a sign of things to come. The energy in the stadium was electric, and the fans were hopeful for a victorious outcome. The Arizona defense also appeared strong early on, forcing Kansas State into a 3-and-out on their first possession. Their defensive line was impenetrable, and their tackles were solid. For a brief moment, it seemed as if Arizona might just continue their winning ways. The team was riding high on momentum, and their confidence was growing with each play. However, Kansas State had other plans. They regrouped, strategized, and came back with a renewed sense of purpose. The game was far from over, and the battle had just begun. Kansas State's quarterback Avery Johnson put on a clinic for how to dominate a football game. Johnson was a dual-threat nightmare for the Arizona defense. He carved them up through the air, completing 14 of his 19 pass attempts for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. As if that wasn't enough, Johnson showcased his impressive mobility by rushing for a game-high 110 yards. Arizona simply had no answer for Johnson's versatility and playmaking ability. His performance was instrumental in Kansas State's victory. After their initial touchdown drive, the Arizona offense sputtered and stalled throughout the game. The Wildcats, who had shown so much promise in their previous outings, seemed to hit a wall they couldn't overcome. Their usually reliable quarterback, Noah Fifita, struggled to find his rhythm. Despite his best efforts, he couldn't seem to get into a groove, and his frustration was palpable on the field. Fifita, who had been a model of efficiency during Arizona's winning streak, could only muster 268 passing yards without a single touchdown pass. His usual precision and confidence were noticeably absent, and it showed in his performance. This marked the first time during their impressive run that Fifita failed to connect with a receiver for a score. The lack of touchdowns was a stark contrast to his previous games, where he had been a consistent playmaker. Arizona's rushing attack, which had been a source of strength in previous games, was completely shut down by Kansas State's stout defense. The Wildcats' running backs found no room to maneuver, and every attempt to gain ground was met with fierce resistance. The Wildcats could only muster a season-low 56 yards on the ground, a testament to Kansas State's dominance in the trenches. The offensive line, which had been reliable, was overpowered, leaving the running game in shambles. Kansas State's defensive line was relentless, and their ability to control the line of scrimmage was a key factor in their victory. The Wildcats will need to regroup and find answers if they hope to bounce back in their next game. Section 5. Defensive gaps. Arizona struggles to contain Kansas State. Arizona's defense, which had shown flashes of brilliance during their winning streak, simply could not find an answer for Kansas State's offensive firepower. The Wildcats were gashed on the ground, surrendering a staggering 235 rushing yards to Kansas State. This was the most rushing yards they had allowed in a single game since 2022, highlighting a glaring weakness in their defensive front. Kansas State's offensive line consistently won the battle at the line of scrimmage, opening up gaping holes for their running backs to exploit. Section 6. Kansas State seizes control, a dominant third quarter. The game was still within reach for Arizona at halftime, with Kansas State clinging to a 14-7 lead. However, the third quarter belonged entirely to the Wildcats from Manhattan, Kansas. They came out of the locker room with a renewed sense of purpose and completely dominated the third quarter, outscoring Arizona 14-0 and putting the game firmly out of reach. Kansas State's Braden Lofton hauled in a 9-yard touchdown pass, extending their lead and capping off a drive that exemplified their offensive efficiency. Later in the quarter, DJ Giddens punched in a 1-yard touchdown run, putting the game on ice. Section 7. Special teams blunders, a costly punt return. Special teams miscues played a significant role in Arizona's demise. The most glaring error came on a punt return in the third quarter. Kansas State's Seth Porter fielded the punt and weaved his way through Arizona's coverage team for a back-breaking 79-yard touchdown return. This momentum-shifting play sucked the life out of Arizona's sideline and sent the Kansas State faithful into a frenzy. It was a costly mistake that Arizona simply could not overcome. Section 8. Penalties pile up, self-inflicted wounds for Arizona. Penalties were a recurring problem for Arizona throughout the game. They committed a staggering 9 penalties, totaling 75 yards. Several of these penalties came at crucial moments, stalling their own drives or breathing life into Kansas State's offense. These self-inflicted wounds proved too much for Arizona to overcome. Their inability to maintain discipline and avoid costly penalties was a significant factor in their defeat. Section 9. Kansas State's victory, a statement win for the Wildcats. When the final whistle blew, Kansas State had earned a decisive 31-7 victory over the Arizona Wildcats. This statement win propelled Kansas State to a 3-0 record on the season and solidified their position as a force to be reckoned with in college football. For Arizona, it was a bitter end to their impressive 9-game winning streak. The Wildcats fell to 2-1 on the year, and more importantly, they were left with a laundry list of areas to address if they hoped to compete at a high level moving forward. Section 10. Arizona looks ahead, a bye week for reflection and adjustment. Following this humbling defeat, Arizona had a much-needed bye week to reflect on their performance and make the necessary adjustments. This break in the action came at an opportune time, as the Wildcats had plenty to work on if they wanted to get back on track. Head coach Jedd Fisch and his coaching staff would use this time to dissect the film, identify areas of weakness, and implement a game plan for the challenges that lay ahead. Section 11. The road ahead. A tough test against Utah awaits. Arizona's next challenge loomed large on the horizon. They were set to face the 12th-ranked Utah UTEs in their Big 12 opener. Utah, a perennial powerhouse in the conference, would be a formidable opponent for the reeling Wildcats. This game would be a true test of Arizona's resilience and their ability to bounce back from adversity. The Wildcats had their work cut out for them, but they were determined to prove that their winning streak was no fluke and that they were a program on the rise.